So the last time I had used a Samsung phone was way back in 2015, and it was this Samsung Galaxy Note 3 Neo. And then I moved on to this Google Pixel in October 2018, and let me tell you, this is one of the best phone I have ever used. But just before the lockdown, the screen of my Google Pixel got damaged, and I was anxiously waiting for the Pixel 5 to launch in India. But unfortunately, the Pixel 5 did not launch, and also the Pixel 4a is out of stock on Flipkart most of the time. So a good discount was going on in this Diwali sale, and I went for this Samsung Galaxy S10. So today's video will not be about the specs on paper, but it will be about how does it actually feel when you move from a fast operating Google Pixel pure Android phone to a flagship phone from Samsung, which is the Samsung Galaxy S10. And I feel that any one of you who has ever used a Pixel would also feel the same way. So let's start the video. So when you will hold the S10 first time in your hands, the first thing that will come to your mind is this is a phone with a perfect size. It is neither too small nor too big, and you can easily grip this phone in a single hand and also use it single-handedly. Although the phone is a combination of metal and glass, and all the glass back phones are a little bit delicate, but even if you use this phone without a case, you're going to feel a little bit more confident. But I recommend that you definitely use a case with this one. If I talk about the positioning of buttons on the phone, so this is something which I don't really like too much, because first of all, the power button is on the right side and it's way up on the top, and also the volume button are on the left side along with the Bixby button, and it is also on the top. So for example, if you're holding the phone like this, so your thumb is on the right side and your index finger is actually on the left side. So sometimes when you are pressing the power button, you will accidentally press the volume down button, and in this manner you are actually going to take many screenshots. I have been noticing this problem a couple of times. Maybe I have not got used to it, but I tried to change the position of my index finger, and the second thing that happened was that along with the power button, I also pressed the Bixby button, so which actually launched the Bixby application. So anyway, this is something you have to keep a note of, and definitely I'll wish that Samsung could have positioned the power button slightly on the lower side. If you are an S10 user, then another thing that's going to annoy you a lot is the in-display fingerprint scanner. So first of all, this scanner is not one of the fastest on the market, and neither it's one of the accurate ones. So while you are unlocking your phone, you will keep getting messages like no match or press the screen for a little bit longer time. So these are the things that does not make the overall experience a flagship one. Now to overcome this problem, I also registered my Face ID along with the fingerprint scanner. Now Face ID works as intended, but this one is also not one of the fastest when you compare it to a OnePlus phone. But anyway, if you pair the Face ID along with the fingerprint scanner, it's going to work fine in most cases. And I really like that cool animation that goes around the camera punch hole, indicating that the phone is reading your face, and once the matching is complete, it's going to unlock. When I began to operate the phone, it felt very slow and sluggish. There are a lot of transitions and a lot of animations that are going on. I don't want to say that the phone is slow, but it's actually the pure Android or the Oxygen OS that completely separates Android from any customized skin. After I had set up the phone and everything, and when I reached the home screen, I didn't like the appearance of the home screen at all as compared to my Pixel. So first of all the icons are quite big in size. They have rounded corners, and also the grid size available on the app drawer and home screen is also quite big. Apart from that, the phone has plenty of applications as compared to Pixel, and Samsung has grouped all the Samsung applications in the app drawer in a separate folder, and they have grouped all the Google applications in the app drawer in a separate folder. But anyway, I was not satisfied with the look, so I decided to make this phone more like Pixel. The next thing I did was to install Nova Launcher and set this launcher as my default launcher. After this, I increased the number of rows and columns and decreased the size of the icons. So this is the kind of look that you are going to get when you go into the app drawer. Apart from that, I created a separate tab and named it as Bin, where I have kept most of the Samsung applications and some of the other apps which I feel I'm not going to use at all. Apart from that, you can already see that whenever I'm operating this search button, the animation is quite slow and sluggish. So what you can do here is that you can go into your phone settings and you can activate developer options, and then you can go in the animations tab, and there you can reduce all sorts of animations which are by default on 1x, and you can decrease all of them to 0.5x. So this is going to give your phone a bit of a very fast experience. If you don't want to use Nova Launcher, then you can also go for the Launcher launcher. So this is the launcher that you are looking at. You will get a search bar in the app drawer, and you are also going to get search bar in the home screen as well. So this is more like a Google Now launcher. You will also get Google Newsfeed when you swipe your finger from left to right. So overall, this one is also a very good launcher, and it resembles Google Now launcher in most of the ways. So you can definitely choose between Nova or launcher. There are few Google applications that doesn't come with the Samsung Galaxy S10 by default, and one of them is this Gboard application. So first of all, I've been using the Gboard keyboard application with my Google Pixel for a very long time, and I have got definitely used to this particular keyboard. So I didn't want to switch over to the Samsung keyboard, so I had to install this Gboard and set it up as my default keyboard application. Another application that doesn't come with the Samsung Galaxy S10 by default is the Google Keep Notes application. Now, this application is very important to me because I use this app mainly for writing all my YouTube description and also for posting various kind of links to the other social media platforms. So this app was something which I was using on a regular basis on my Google Pixel. So I had to install this in my Samsung Galaxy S10 as well from Google Play Store. When I pulled out the notification panel of my Galaxy S10, I was quite shocked and surprised at the same time because this notification panel has been stuffed with so many shortcuts, and instead of proving to be very convenient, it proves to be very confusing because you have to actually search for what you are looking for. So you can already see that I have removed most of these shortcuts from this notification tray, but still there are plenty of them which are remaining, and slowly and gradually I'm removing the one which I'm not using it at all. So this is kind of a very Samsung own way of stuffing the phone with unnecessary shortcuts and unnecessary features which are not required most of the time. One thing that I really liked about the S10 is the power mode. So instead of power saving mode, they have given you a power mode, and this power mode has 4 to 5 different features. So by default, you can keep the phone to the medium power saving mode or the optimized mode, and in these two particular modes, the phone is going to lower your screen resolution, it's going to lower your CPU usage, your RAM usage, and in this way it's going to save a lot of battery. And the good thing is that whenever you activate these modes, the phone is going to tell you what it's doing. So it's quite one of the, you can say, very handy feature when it comes to power saving. Apart from that, whenever you buy a Samsung phone, the most important thing is display. So as usual, it's a very bright, saturated and a very colorful panel, but I would say this is not one of the most color accurate panel. So the display has a kind of green and blue tint to it, and Samsung has given you plenty of options in the settings where you can reduce the amount of blue and green light that is coming out of the phone and make the screen look more warmer. I'll still say that although this particular display is more saturated and more colorful, but my Google Pixel 2 XL's display was more color accurate because it was able to display warm colors and skin tones very well as compared to Samsung. So as you can see that while I'm watching a YouTube video, the blues and greens in the video are quite good, but the skin tones are not represented as they should be. Apart from that, if you are watching any content on social media and whenever you are zooming in a certain video, it's not going to cut off the video from any of the sides. The video is just going to expand and it's going to fit the screen very well. So this is something which was not available in my Google Pixel because of different sized screen, but with the Galaxy S10 the screen size is perfect, and if you are zooming in any video, it's going to fill up your entire screen without cropping the video from any of the sides. So the last and the most important thing that I want to talk about the phone is the camera. So first of all, the camera UI once again has plenty of features, just like the notification panel and the app drawer. But the good thing is that you can drag and drop different features anywhere in the camera UI. So this is something that is really very handy. So you can choose the features that you actually want and drop it on the main window. It is actually the first time when I'm moving from a single camera phone directly to a triple camera setup. And what I enjoyed most in the Samsung Galaxy S10 is the wide angle lens. So this was something that was really missing in my Google Pixel, and this wide angle lens definitely gives you an entirely different perspective of how the things are gonna look like. This lens can be used for landscape photography. It's going to capture a scene that has a lot of people in it, and you're not going to miss out anything from any of the sides. So wide angle lens is kind of a star of the show when we talk about a phone like Samsung Galaxy S10. If I talk about the overall camera performance, so I would say it's not as consistent as my Google Pixel. In some situations, the photos may turn out to be absolutely awesome, but in certain other scenarios, when the light is coming directly from the front, the camera is not going to, give you the desired result. But overall, it's a good camera, but I would say not as consistent as my Google Pixel. If I talk about photos from the front camera, so first of all, phone applies a lot of beauty filter whenever you take photo from the front camera. A lot of you are going to like this particular kind of look, especially if you are using apps like Camera 360 or Beauty Plus, and if you are using Snapchat. But for a person like me, I really like to take raw photos which has a lot of details, and later on I like to edit all these photos in Lightroom CC or Adobe Photoshop, so that I can apply the color grades as per my requirement. But anyway, most of you I think are going to like these photos, especially if you are a girl. You will definitely like the photos from the front camera from any of the Samsung phone. The next I want to talk about the video quality. So the footage that you're looking at right now is being filmed with front camera in 4K. Yes, the S10 has the capability to shoot 4K from front camera. So this will give you an idea how the video quality is gonna look like from the rear camera. There is actually a lot of things, and I can talk about cameras, but I think it's going to make this initial impression video really very long. So I'm kind of limiting myself to all this information right now. If you want to hear more about the cameras, you can just post your comments in the comment section below. I'll make another video, dedicated video on the camera. At last, I would like to say that this is a kind of phone which is good at everything but not the best at anything. And at a price point of 36 or 37,000 rupees, if you don't want to buy a OnePlus phone, and the Pixel 5 is not available in India right now, so this is the one that you can go for. Thank you so much for watching the video. You can support this channel by subscribing it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.